Hey folks, you know I take my trail camera intel pretty seriously. It's a huge part of how I build my hunting strategy, and I'm always looking for gear that just flat out works. Stuff I can rely on. Backed by solid people and the best customer support in the business. That's exactly why I run Tacticam Reveal cell cameras. Whether you're just getting started or you're a full-blown data junkie like me, they've got a camera to fit your budget and your hunting style. My go-to currently is the Reveal 3.0 series with fully integrated GPS. These things are dead simple to set up. Less fiddling, more scouting and hunting. And they run on most major service providers and will automatically connect you to the strongest signal in your area. So no more hiking to the top of a ridge just to realize you've got the wrong service provider. Been there, not fun. Here's the kicker. You don't even need an SD card. That means fewer trips in, less pressure on your spots, and more real-time intel sent straight to your phone. And if you pair it with a Reveal solar panel or a lithium cartridge, you can keep those cameras running longer and spend more time doing what actually matters. Scouting new ground, dialing in a setup, or maybe, just maybe, finally cleaning the garage like you told your wife you would before the season started. Don't just take my word for it. Check out Tacticam Reveal at tacticam.com. Tacticam. Everything you need to take your hunting to the next level. Stay more comfortable, more concealed, and in the stand longer with Oscio gear. Premium camouflage apparel created for bow hunters by bow hunters. Oscio's revolutionary patented camo patterns and innovative features are designed to keep whitetail bow hunters totally invisible and dead quiet. Elevate your game with Oscio. Visit asiogear.com and take 20% off your purchase with code TRUTH20. If you're like me, e-scouting isn't just part of the process, it is the process. And nobody's doing it better than Spartan Forge. This is a veteran-owned company that built the only science-based scouting platform on real GPS collar data and artificial intelligence to predict deer movement. But where it really shines is with their imagery. Spartan Forge now has a high-res UAV coverage for 80% of the whitetail states, down to 5-centimeter detail. That means you can see trails, old logging roads, cuts, even subtle vegetation changes that most apps completely miss. And if you really want to get nerdy, their LiDAR layer breaks right through the canopy so you can see the forest floor. Gives you some visibility to those hidden draws, ditches that big bucks absolutely love to live in. Add in historical wind data and a desktop-only features like Eagle Eye and Cyber Scout, and you've got the most advanced hunting app out there. Start your risk-free 14-day trial today at spartanforge.ai. Welcome to the Truth from the Stand Deer Hunting Podcast, brought to you by Tacticam Reveal Cellular Cameras. I'm your host, Clint Campbell, and you're listening to episode number 474. Today, I'm joined by my buddy, Johnny Utah, to talk hunting season realities and the value of mental reps. So stay tuned. All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Truth from the Stand Deer Hunting Podcast. I got my brother on from another mother. You know him, you love him, Johnny. By God, Utah Mulligan, weighing in at a svelte 205 pounds, hailing from the great town of Farmington, Iowa. I love How's it going, man? How's it going?
Dude, man, it's going.
Yeah.
Welcome 2026.
Yeah, you know, it feels just like 2025. Like
I
weird.
Know. Yeah, it's just a couple days later.
Isn't it wild how, you know, I remember when I was a kid, you know, growing up, you would have Christmas and New Year's and stuff like that, and it felt like, you know, the new year was like this new thing, right?
Yeah,
like it's
right.
You know, it was like, oh, it's a whole new year. It's wild, you know.
Yeah.
And then like as you get older, you just realize. I think it's about the time where you have like an adult life where you're working for a living,
right.
not just fresh out of college and I'm kind of working, but I'm kind of dicking off. You know, it's like. No, it's like, you know, yeah, I've got some responsibilities and I actually have to go to work now and like have a regular gig, you know, or whatever it is that you're taking care of business. And then it's about that time where you go, yeah, that was just a couple of days off, and 2026 is not any different than 2025.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's funny because things don't really change. Like you said, I mean, I'm just like, oh, the suck just continues, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. All the things that were cool before, they're still cool. All the things that sucked ass before, and they still suck. You know?
Yeah. You just had a little bit of a break, a mental break for Christmas and New Year. And you're like, oh, no, it's kind of back where we started about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Only there's a time period of not being able to get anything done for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because no one else is doing shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
exactly.
always,
So
it's a
I always
firm
have grand
rule.
plans.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to continue to work through the holiday, get a little bit done, get a little bit ahead. And by December 23rd to like January 3rd, no one else does shit. Like,
Yeah.
try to get something done at a business. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you need to talk to Julie. Yeah, she's on vacation till the 4th.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's convenient. Like,
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah. The cause like my work closes down over the holiday. So like technically it's like I'm off from like the 24th, I guess 25th, because we worked on the 24th, but I think we got out early or whatever, or we were done early that day. And then I don't go back till, this coming Monday, like the 5th or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I always have grand plans of, it's like, man, I've got, it's not 2 weeks, but it's like, 11 days or 12 days or something like that of like, no work. And I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to get this thing organized. And it's like, yeah, like the video edits I've been doing for like putting the video podcast together, like some of the files got messed up. So I just need to like start like a brand new template for the year. That way it's like, I don't have any glitchy, weird stuff like for the year or whatever,
Yeah.
Did none of that. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like
all I was hearing is there's that one Instagram reel, and I don't know who the dude is, but the black guy, he's like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything done.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what happened to me. But I will say this on the positive side, I didn't even get out to hunt yet for late season. So our season opened back up on the 26th.
Okay.
And it's just been, cause ours closes down like, after like gun season is over or whatever. There's like a 2-week period, I think roughly, where gun season kind of wraps and then there's no hunting. I don't want to say no hunting at all. I think there's some small game stuff that's happening during that course of time, but there's no deer hunting from then until like the 26th, and then it opens back up. And then depending on where you're at, like statewide, don't quote me on this because I just don't remember exactly how the weekends fall, but I want to say it's around like the 15th or maybe the 19th this year because it's usually 2 weeks into January. And so if Monday's the 5th or whatever, so roughly around that time frame. And then if you're in a special regs unit, it runs to like the end of January, basically, for all intents and purposes. And every year it's like, I didn't do this to myself this year. Like usually every year I'm like, you know what? I've got a bunch of time off around the holiday. I'm going to go out and hunt,
like,
why not?
Have
time,
I mean, what else would you be doing? Christmas caroling?
That, eggnogging,
yeah.
Yeah. But what ends up happening is like, you think it's a bunch of time until like all the like family obligations and stuff kind of come in and stuff like that, and then you realize, I don't have as much free time as I thought I was going to have. Like it happens every time. So this year it's like I was like, you know what, I'm not even going to try to get out until like after New Year's. I was like, because then like I won't have to like play hell or be mad that I didn't get out. Right. I was like, I'm just going to be like, yeah, it's a wash. Like, I'm not even going to, if I get out, it's like a bonus. I was like, but if I don't, it's like, I kind of expect it. So I think the first day I'm actually going to get out for late season, I think it's tomorrow. I'm going to get out probably in the afternoon.
Good.
Which would be cool. No, don't have any grand expectations or anything like that, but it's just going to be nice to get out and stretch the legs a little bit again. It feel good.
Yeah. But I will not be doing any of that stretching of legs.
I know. I'm just going to ask you.
or hunting the rest of the season. So yeah, my season is cut a little bit short now.
Yeah. What happened, dude? Like, cause you and I had been texting. Like, well, you haven't been, it's been a little bit since you've been on the show, but I'm sure people are aware of this. Like John and I pretty much talk every week in some capacity, like whether it's text message or whether it's a phone call or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know the last time we talked, it was somewhere right before, I think it was like right before Christmas, and we were swapping jujitsu stuff, talking about techniques. That's predominantly what you and I kind of chat about anymore, is that kind of stuff. And you had mentioned something about your knee was bothering you. And I said, yeah, I was like, I had a weird knee issue for a while too, like probably 6 months ago, and then mine just kind of went away. And then I texted you, I think like over the holiday, we traded a text or two over the holiday, but then I saw like a post that you made of like wearing a brace. And I was like, what? And then I text you, I was like, hey, let's get together and let's chop it up. And you were like, cool, yeah, let's do it. And then you were like, I won't be on the mats anytime soon. And I'm like, what? You basically like you torched your knee. So what happened there? Because last I heard, it was like yeah, it's like I have a little like knee soreness. And I was like, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So probably like 3 months ago, we were on the mats one night, and one of my buddies is just really good at knee bars. And he does his, a standard like half guard entry, and he pulls that bottom leg out. Right.
Mhm.
And, he's just really, really good at it. And he's a bigger, high calorie guy.
Mhm.
And to see him get his legs underneath and scoop it and straighten it out, it's kind of nice. It's cool to see, right?
Right.
So he gets me one night, and I'm trying to escape from it, almost like the way we would escape from an armbar. I'm just trying to rotate my knee down
Just
to the
change the
mat.
angle just a little
Yeah,
bit.
or no different than rotating your elbow,
Mhm.
And I was being really stubborn with it, and eventually I had to tap. And it was a little tender, no big deal. And I'm like, hey, I have these Anaconda knee braces. I'll just wear these for a little while. And that gave me a little bit of confidence. I never missed any days on the mats. I never did anything different. And then about a week ago, I had like 3 sessions in a row that I didn't wear a knee brace. And I was like, I'm good. Like, I don't need this. You know what I mean? I'll just wear it on days if we're doing a bunch of doubles or we're shooting on the knees and stuff like that. So horrible deer season, and was grinding. And, in Iowa, a lot of guys know this, during shotgun season, if you have bow tags or late season bow / muzzleloader, you actually can't hunt during shotgun season, at all. So I was on the sidelines, for a couple of weeks. Shotgun guys are doing their thing, and I was looking forward to getting back in the woods. And of course, Christmas happened, so I didn't get out there immediately. Then we had some good cold temperatures, and I went out, and I took my muzzle loader, and I had just resighted in this muzzle loader. I had a new load. I'm running a 330 grain bullet in this muzzle loader. I'm prepared to hunt elephants in Iowa with this load.
Right.
And I just really wanted to try this load out. And I told myself that night, I said, I don't care what walks out. If it's a fawn, if it's a doe, if it's a spike, I'm mollywopping the first thing I see.
Right.
And we're getting late in the season, and I did need to replenish, the freezer a little bit. The very first thing that walks out I'll say this. He was a really solid deer back in September. He left our property and he came back, and he's all busted up.
Right. Yeah.
But he's still a cool deer, it's just still a cool buck. And so anyways, I ended up shooting him and got that recovery done. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now I still have my bow tag, and I've got I have a doe tag, and I still have an Anysex tag for my bow. And I'm like, this will be really cool because we got all cold temperatures, and I'm going to hunt a lot, over these next 9-10 days. I go on the mats the other night, and, accidents can happen. This, unfortunately, was one of those accidents that should have been avoided.
Right.
Rolling with a guy that was a little rammy. And I was not expecting him to do what he did. And nonetheless, I got my knee in a very compromised position. And next thing I hear is a big pop sound on the inside of my knee. And I'm like, I'm not a doctor, but I'm like, I think that's MCL is on the inside of the knee,
Yeah.
And, the adrenaline's going, so I don't think it's that bad. So I actually roll one more round.
Yeah.
And I end up stopping like 30 seconds into it. As soon as my knee hit the mat, I was like, nope, yet we're not doing this.
Right.
I've done something good. But went into the sports therapy place the very next morning, and they said, yeah, it's an MCL tear. But this is the first time in my life I've researched MCLs.
Right.
Never needed to before.
Right.
But it's like, my understanding is grade 1 means it's a strain or a sprain. Grade 2 means it's a 10% tear to a 90% tear. Grade 3, full blown tear, no
Mhm.
MCL at all. And I also read like there's not a lot they can do for surgeries as well. So it's kind of like once it's gone, you know. But so I was like, okay, I started on a heavy regimen of peptides. I work with a company, Next Gen Peptides. The owner called me, which I thought was super rad, that like he took the time out of his day to have like a 30-minute conversation. Like, this
Right.
is the protocol. This is what we're going to do. We're going to up the dosage. We're going to do it every 12 hours. We're doing injections straight into the knee. And I'm a firm believer in peptides. They've, you know, repaired other injuries in the past. So, but man, I'm glad I shot that buck the other night because dude, I'm done.
Right. Yeah.
Like going up a flight of stairs takes me like 5 minutes.
Yeah, dude. It's yeah, knee injuries are always like they're the thing that I'm probably most nervous about. And just in general. Like even whenever I'm out hunting or scouting, or especially whenever I'm out west and I'm in some like really gnarly terrain, like
yeah,
you know, in Idaho
unstable,
or whatever.
rocky.
Yeah. And I never really thought about it much when I was younger, you know, and I was probably more prone to the injuries actually when I was younger doing stuff because I just didn't think about it. Right.
Well,
like now it's like
we had never been hurt before.
Right.
So we didn't
now
know.
Now it's like whenever I'm out there, if I'm on stuff that's unstable, it's like I'm very mindful of my footing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Of like where I'm placing my foot. Where it's like when I was younger, it's like I would just jump, like take off, like whatever, you know. And now it's like I'm way more mindful about where I put, because I know it's like, man, just a twist of the knee, you know. And it's like, you know, especially if you're out like on a 2-week hunt in the backcountry or whatever, it's like shit's over. You know what I mean? Like it's done. You know?
Yeah, you're done. Yeah.
And I always try to taper things back like right before hunting season comes around, like where I don't take any of those like high risk rolls anymore on the mat, right? I don't really do anything too crazy. It's like if I get into a bad spot, I just abandon it right away. I don't try to like work my way through it or whatever. You know, I don't hold out tapping very long, like like where it's like after the season where I was like I might hold a little longer and see if I can't work my way out of it, right? But whenever hunting season's getting close, I'm like, yeah, no, it's like I'm just gonna go ahead and tap, that way I can go hunt, man.
Well,
because you don't think about how much you use. I mean, you think about how much you use your knees, right? But like, you know, just the simple things, especially like when you first do it, like even like load bearing, right? Like putting weight on it or anything like that. It's like, you know, and then when you get beyond that, it's like, say you got up into a stand. It's like when you're turning, how often you're not picking your feet up a lot of times, you're just twisting. Right. And there's like that give that your knees will have, like when you're healthy and you can move them. Right. But like if you're up in a tree, it's like that grip and you go to turn one way, it's like, oh, you know, it's like, you can't do it.
Exactly what you're describing is what brings a tear to my eye right now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm being very careful. I've got my knee stabilized. It's locked out in a straight position. But like, you know, you're in the kitchen and you turn to go from the fridge to the counter, or even go to the bathroom and you turn to leave. There's that little bit of rotation, twist of the knee. And I'm like, oh boy, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, it's, you know, luckily like with the peptides, you know, I'm a healthy person as it is, as far as like nutritional intake and going to the gym and exercising and that kind of stuff. And then just having some other outside resources. I mean, dude, William Tackett and I had a great conversation the other day. And he was giving me some pointers as far as when the rehab, you know, the post, when things start to feel good, like some different stretches and things to do to really make sure it's good and warmed up. Right. Because, you know, you're super susceptible to tearing it again, you know, if you come back too soon. So that was really cool. And, just having a cool little core network of people, you know, that have been through this, you know, multiple times. That's, you know, like you and I get after it pretty hard, but at the end of the day, we're still hobbyists because we have day jobs. But like talking to these guys that are training 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, they've gone through this 8 times already, you know?
Well, it's the same as like, you know, like someone who is able to hunt, you know, 5 days a week versus someone who's a weekend warrior, right? Like there's just a level of experience with with a variety of conditions that you're going to have, right? That the hobbyist, or the weekend warrior, however you want to frame it, isn't going to have, because you've seen it time and time again, right? Because I know for me, when I have like an injury or something like that, it's like you think it's the worst thing ever, right? Like you're but whenever you're around people who've, like, whether it's football or jujitsu or whatever, who've been in the game, whatever game it is, for a long period of time, like, injury is just part of it, right? It's just, it is what it is.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah. It's like, and those guys have had some significant ones. Like, I know, like, just my coach, for example, like, I think he's torn both biceps at different times. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like, you're talking about like significant time away and things like that. Cause I think, whether it's hunting, or on the mat or whatever, I think, we often think that the time away, like, we're going to forget everything, right? Like, I'm not going to know what I'm doing when I come back. Right. Even like if you're hunting, like, and you have to take time away from it for whatever reason, say you're in the military, right? And like all of a sudden, like, you were home for a couple years or able to hunt for a couple years, and all of a sudden you're going to be deployed or whatever, and you're not going to be able to hunt. If you miss 2 years and you come back, it's not like you forgot how to do it. It might take a second just to kind of get back in the rhythm, right? But that doesn't leave you if you've done it for a long time, right? It's the same thing on the mats, where it's like, I've got to be off for a month or 2 months or 6 months or whatever the case is. It's like, well, your cardio and like your endurance is going to take a minute to come back, right? But your brain is actually going to pick it back up a lot more quickly than your body will. Like, your body will be the last thing to come back, to come along, for the ride, so to speak. I don't know, but I think there's something to, I don't know. I'd be curious. I'll ask you this question. Like, for me, I know maybe it's just as we get older too, maybe we just have an appreciation for things, or we can maybe, put things into proper perspectives potentially. But for me, it's almost felt like that time away actually makes me better. I've found, not like a ton of time away, right? And I'm talking both in hunting and jujitsu. It's like, that's why, I still love to scout and do all the stuff that that I've always done, but I've done it more now in kind of smaller doses, right? Because in the same thing for jujitsu, it's like, when I get some time away, it's like I actually come back and feel like I got better. And there is like a little bit of science to it, to a degree, where it's like, when you give yourself time and space, your brain's able to start making the connections that it's supposed to be making with the things that it's picking up, right? As opposed, like, whenever you're constantly inundating it, it doesn't have time to kind of make all the right connections, right, for you, right? To have things like on recall and be real quick. And so I've found, like, with hunting, for me, the same in jujitsu, if I'm able to get just a little bit of space, like, I can see the forest through the trees a little bit better, is a really simple way to put it, right? Do you kind of feel the same way?
Yeah, I do.
And this goes for anything. It doesn't have to be jujitsu or hunting. It's really anything that you're doing. Like, a little bit of space often helps.
Yeah. I mean, like, after having a winter off and then getting into turkey season, there's always that first couple of sits where I'm like, shit, I forgot my headlamp. Damn, because you're just you're out of that routine.
Rhythm. Yeah.
And then, but I've never forgot how to set up decoys or call turkeys, or it just feels like you're rusty because you've had some time off. And same thing, I always say those first sits of the deer season, like, a lot of times I'll go to Kentucky and I'm there in early September, or, maybe I went out west, for pronghorn or something. But yeah, those first couple of days, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of here, and you're waiting for everything to kind of catch back up. But it's not like you forgot how to do it. Yeah, you're just, a little rusty. And I know I'm a big person about consistency, and no different than like when I was in school. I would hate missing school because when I came back, I had to catch up on all the gossip. Who's dating who skipped school, who got caught smoking weed in the parking lot,
Yeah.
I hated missing out on all that. I feel like I was out of the loop. But, I'm already thinking about this. Like, I'm going to be gone. Let's just call it 2 weeks to 4 months. I don't know. I'm hoping it's closer to the 2-week side because of my health and the peptides and, what I'm able to have access, to. So I'm hoping it's that way, but nonetheless, I'm like, all right, how can I be the best version of me that I can, even during this setback? And I already know what my plan was for this year. It was working on a lot of top control, really going down every rabbit hole from the Kimura that I possibly can. Like that was just something I wanted to do, arm drag Kimura, arm drag to back takes and Kimura grips and Kimura locks, and not even finishing stuff, just more controlling type stuff. That was one of the things that I wanted to work on this year. And I'm like, I can still do that. I can still study on my own. Hell, Bruce Lee always attributes his greatest growth is whenever he was in the hospital and he was laid up.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that I'm that smart to visually not have an uke or not have an arm to like manipulate as I'm thinking through these things. I mean, you're having to like literally close your eyes and go, all right, so if I grab the wrist and I scoop the backside of the tricep and I pull my body into them, that's sometimes that's easier to do with another person to kind of feel it out. But I'll do the best I can, do a lot of studying. I'm still going to go to class and participate from the sidelines. And another thing for me too is when I was a kid, playing sports, your parents let you skip a couple of soccer practices, and then you replace that with video games or calling a girlfriend or whatever. Next thing you know, you don't really miss soccer as much. You've kind of replaced that. So I want to keep myself in that habit of occupying that there's a certain amount of time each week that I'm dedicated
allotted to it. Yeah.
Whether it's, making sure I'm looking at trail cameras and I'm still looking at some topos and trying to study some more things out and whatnot. So keep myself in that groove and mentally prepare myself that it's going to suck and not get depressed and not get down.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm not going to forget how to do like an S mount to a back take to a rear naked choke. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm going to be a little rusty, but I'm not going to forget how to do it.
Yeah. That's the one thing I think, I think a lot of times people feel if they're not actively doing something, like they're not participating or they're not learning or growing or whatever the case is. Like I've found, at least, at least for me, I think, let me phrase it this way. I think whenever you're newer at something, the ability to do is unmatched. I think the actual participation in whatever the thing is, whether it's, hunting or jujitsu or basketball or whatever it is that you're trying to get better at, the active participation is always like the quicker way to development, right? Or growth, right? But I think as you kind of get along in it, that, sometimes we overlook like the quiet parts of the growth opportunities, right? And I think in hunting specifically, like, a lot of guys will talk about scouting and stuff like that. And I think it's important. But just because, maybe you have something going on, you can't get out there as often as you want to, because hunting is one of those things where the reps that you get live is like in a very short period of time, right? Where it's like when you're talking about a sport, whether it's golf or whatever it is, or just in our case, jujitsu, it's like, it's 12 months a year. Like I can do it every day if I want to. Like, and so there's no limitation other than like my own body's ability to recover and my ability to have the time to go do the thing. I can get as many reps as I want all year long. Right.
Yeah.
But whenever you're talking about hunting, the reps are the game. Like you don't have practice really,
Yeah.
So whenever you can get reps is actually in the season, right? When you're actually doing the thing. Scouting is what I'll call pseudo reps, right? Because there's no pressure, there's no tag to be filled. There's no, you're typically not worrying about your access, your entry, your exit, things like, right? All those things that are like game time things when you're hunting.
Yeah.
And so how do you get the reps like to do those things? Right.
Right.
a lot of it is mental, right? A lot of it is like sitting down in the off season and like studying your map, right? And like not just studying it for like, oh, where are my setups, but like going a step further and going, all right, well, if I had this wind, how would I access this? Could I hunt this on this wind? Are there any setups in here that I could hunt like on a different wind? Well, what would my access be then, right? And or even starting to plan stuff out like even further into the future. Like I'm still in my season now, and like I said, I'm going to probably get out tomorrow and hopefully the following weekend, I'm fingers crossed and maybe take one last little travel trip. But I've already know that I'm most likely going to draw an Iowa tag.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've already started kind of looking at the maps again, and I'm familiar with the area that I'm going to be going to, but I'm thinking about now that I've been there before, is there anything I've overlooked?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some of the places I've hunted previously, was the access I was using the best version of the access, or was it a better setup within those spots? Right.
Yeah.
So I've already started kind of, cause I'm going to have like a long weekend. I'm going to come out and visit you probably in March, go through some stuff. Right. But then the next time I see it, it's going to be game time.
Yeah.
Right. And so how do you prepare for that type of stuff? It's like, well, you got to take the mental reps and you got to be able to do it in the quiet without actually being there. Right.
Yep. Yep.
And it's the same
You
thing in
don't
sport.
utilize your time. Yeah. I mean, and you know, like this year I didn't go out west and hunt any. And I was like, oh man, like, am I going to lose a step? No, not really. You know, because I've already done it before. You know, where I go next, like I know where I'm going. I've been there before. So, you know, I'll get acclimated again. Again, you're looking at maps and, you know, I can always perfect my, you know, look for holes in my gear, things to make me sharper. I can still get reps in behind the bow. You know, these are all little ancillary things that will ultimately pay off. But I do think, I think as humans, it's very easy for us if we're not doing the thing, we assume that we're totally losing out completely.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's 100% true. I mean,
dude, what you mentioned there with like doing the little things, like that is so important. I think is one of the biggest parallels between the sport you and I both love and in our passion for hunting is that sometimes I think when we hunt, you know, because we've done it so long, like we've done it since we've grown up, right?
Yeah.
Like all of our, you know, most of our lives, right? And so I think sometimes you get at a point where you start kind of not overlooking purposefully, but because the small little thing isn't like this glaring hole any longer, like you don't pay attention to it as much anymore, right? But I think, at least for me, it's been this way of, you know, several years ago when I started a new sport and like everything was brand new to me, right? And now I've progressed along and it's like I've gotten better, and like now the part of like development is fine tuning all those little steps, right? And it makes me now think retroactively about my hunting, you know, or not, I don't want to say in the rearview mirror, but it makes me take like a magnifying glass might be a better way to put it and go, man, like what are those little steps that are so critical in finishing a certain submission that, you know, a white belt might know the technique, right? But the black belt knows all the little minute details to make it indefensible. Right.
Yeah.
And so I start thinking about that now in terms of hunting. It's like, okay, what are the grand scale things that I know? Right. And what are the things that like I used to pay attention to because it was new and fresh to me, that are like the little details that take you from kind of just for the purpose of like a illustration, the right spot to be in versus the right tree to be in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like that level of detail. Right. And I think sometimes we overlook some of that stuff. And I think whenever you start to see those patterns in other places, it makes you kind of go, oh man, there's some things here I might be leaving on the table, like with some of these, you know, setups or these hunts or whatever the case is, because I'm just not as dialed on some of the details because I just autopilot it.
Yeah.
You know,
I've had seasons like that where they were super busy and I was traveling a lot and my mind was on, all right, the next hunt, but I wasn't shooting my bow. Well, shit, you ain't no good at the hunt when the opportunity presents itself. So if you can't hit the broadside of a barn door at 50 yards.
Right.
So like, you know, and granted that being proficient with your bow should be a staple, but sometimes even that gets overlooked when you're like, where's the big buck? Where's he at? Where's that big buck that I was after? You know, you need to target him and you need to stay keep tabs on him if you can. But let's not forget just the core foundational stuff. Like, let's be proficient with our bow. Are we waterproof? Do we have a good quiet setup? Do we have a good entry exit? And I think a lot of those little things can get overlooked in pursuit of what is perceived the big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you keep kind of on the, like, I guess on the details, I guess, if you will? Cause like you had a long season this year, right? Like you and I text and talk during the course of the season, and like
it was my longest and most unproductive tag filling season of my life.
Yeah, it's like, and we've talked, a bunch of different times during the course of the season. And how do you kind of stay? And not saying that you have to stay in it all the time. Like there's like you can slip in and out of it, right? Like I've experienced that where it's like I'm in it this part of the season because I'm feeling good, or like even if things aren't breaking my way, it's like I'm optimistic because of something, right? And then I've also had parts of seasons where I let myself be like, hey, look, it's okay to be pissed, or be like, you know what, I'm not going today. You know what I mean? Like I ain't got it in me. I don't have it. I don't want to do it today. I'm not going to force myself to do it today. Right.
Yep.
But over the course of 4 months, 6 months, whatever it is, like you're in it more often than you're not. And so I guess my question is, how do you trick yourself into being in it? Because that's really kind of what it comes down to, is like you almost have to trick yourself a little bit into like, today's the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what you said was the foundation of that is I finally have gotten to that point in my life where I'm like, I just don't feel like going today. And that's okay. Whereas before I'm like, you little bitch, if you're not in a tree, I don't care that it's 89 degrees and the wind's blowing 82 miles an hour. You better be in the tree, because if you're not, everybody on social media is going to think you're a half-ass fair weather hunter. And I got something to prove, by God. I finally got over that. And I tell you what broke me of that is jujitsu.
Yeah.
That put my humility and ego back in check. So this year financially was not a good year. I didn't have, I lost a couple of big partnerships. So I know this is going to come as a total shock to everybody. If you don't have extra money, you can't hunt as much.
Right.
I know, mind blown. It's crazy. Yeah. You should flash the more you know logo on the screen.
Right.
So I lost a few partnerships. And everybody's like, oh, John, you're a badass hunter. I have a lot of experience, but I've also had a lot of opportunity over the last 10 years that most people don't get. And I'll be the first to say that. I'm probably not any better than other people. I just get to do it a lot more volume.
Right.
And this year I didn't have that volume. And, the same as who would want to go window shop when they don't have any money? Right. That's just pure torture.
Yeah.
Pure torture, So, this was one of those seasons where mentally I had to put myself in the place of, hey, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. Capitalize on the moments that you can. If you've got family commitments or you don't have money to go, that's okay. I can go shoot my bow in the backyard for free. Yeah. And I can look at trail camera photos for free. I can do a little scouting, here and there. And it doesn't cost me very much money to drive to the farm, and back.
Right.
I didn't get to travel like I wanted to. I love chasing whitetails, but me enough. I would rather be chasing animals other than home.
Yeah.
Because it's different. It's new. It's exciting,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that mentally kind of sucked this year. And we didn't have a lot of big bucks to chase in Iowa this year. But I would always tell myself, there's always that chance that there's a buck we've just never gotten a picture of.
Yeah.
And then when you get into the rut, like we've talked about this before in past podcasts, I don't like the rut because it doesn't fall in line with my typical hunting strategy. I'm more of like an ambush hunter. I know his pattern. I know where he's at. I'm going to set up and I'm going to kill him. Whereas other guys, and I respect this method too, of I'm going to go into an area I've never been into before. You never know what's there.
Yeah.
I dig that too. I just, that's just not me. And like, so I used to always hate the rut because everything, it's like Yahtzee. You're shaking up all the dice and you're throwing them and you're like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know. We'll see what lands.
Yeah. So I typically don't like that. This year I was looking forward to the rut because I didn't have any good deer and I was hoping during the rut I'd get the neighbor's deer or,
Right.
a deer that was 4 farms over. Maybe he would, be chasing does on my piece or something. And unfortunately that never happened either.
Right.
But I kept telling myself that today's the day. You never know. You never know. And I think the other thing that I did this year, Clint, was I took some of the pressure off of myself. I'm like, if you don't kill a big buck this year, it doesn't mean you're a shitty hunter. Now, Instagram thinks I'm a shitty hunter.
Right.
If you don't kill a 200 incher every year in Iowa, you must suck.
Right.
Because
right.
Lukoski did, on his 5,000 acres. Well, you know what? I don't have the land and Lee, in talking about access and time, that dude's a phenomenal hunter. Not only is he a great hunter, but that dude's talking about rips. He has gotten to hunt every day of his life for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
That's how you get good. It doesn't matter if you're a dirt late model racer, a guy that races on the weekend at a local track versus a guy on the national tour that's racing 5 times a week. Jujitsu.
Yeah.
The reason why Nicky Rod and Luke Griffith and the Tackett brothers, the reason why they're at their level that they are, yes, they have natural talent, but they also train 8 hours a day, every day.
Yeah.
You're going to get good.
It's consistency. It's consistency and the ability to do it over time.
And opportunity.
With anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you mentioned, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. And and that a direct correlation into past seasons where it's like, oh man, you killed 5 whitetails in 5 different states. I also had the opportunity and time to hunt 5 states. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't have that this year. And I just kept telling myself, I'm like, hey, I love hunting and I'm going to do it my entire life. And sometimes you're just going to have to suck on Instagram.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you mentioned that, about, opportunity, because it's something actually Tony Peterson and I talked about. We did a podcast a while ago and we talked about, I think the way we framed it was authenticity in hunting or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because of exactly what you mentioned, right? Was that, you see these people and they're killing these giants every year and this, that, the other from 100 different places. And it's not always truthful as to how it went down, right? Or what the situation was or whatever the case is. And, and the one thing we talked about was that, people they'll feel some sort of way about themselves because they're not doing X, Y, or Z like somebody else is or whatever the case is.
Yep.
And the one thing that we kind of talked about was, even me, normal guy works a normal job, right? But there's a level of privilege that I have I work a remote job. I can travel to hunt, right? I have the time from work that I can use the way I can kind of manipulate my schedule and because I can work from the trailer and stuff like that. Right. I have resources at my disposal that other people don't have. Right. And so it's, I have a privilege, beyond what others may have who may see the podcast, listen to it, whatever the case is. Right. Like it's different than the person who has to go to their 9 to 5 every week and can only hunt weekends. Right. Like, it's not the same, right? So if and look, I didn't kill anything this year. But if it looks like I'm having more success, it's because I'm in a position where I have more opportunities, like you were saying, right? Yeah. It's like, and that's a privilege to have that, right? Like, it's not guaranteed. Most people don't, right? And I don't think a lot of people frame, their success, based on authentically, I guess you could say, right? Everyone's like you were saying, I killed $5 in 5 different states. Like the asshole would say, I killed $5 in 5 different states because I'm that good.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
The authentic person would say, I killed $5 in 5 different states because I had the resources and the means to be able to take the time that it requires for me to go find the success in those places.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Like those are two different, doesn't mean that the person shouldn't be like, man, that's a killer season, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like, hell yeah, man. But to think that that person is any better than the person standing next to them, probably not true.
No,
you know what I mean?
No. Anybody that's hunted 10, 15 years with a bow, like pretty aggressive, I feel like it's probably had the same experiences I have and can pull from the same knowledge. Do I think I'm a better hunter than somebody that's only been doing it a couple years? No.
Sure.
Well, but do I think I have more experience?
More knowledge. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Experience. Yeah.
So yeah, and there's two ways to look at it, even on social media. Like somebody could look at somebody else's success and they could go, damn, that guy had a hell of a season, but he has a lot of access. And that's how, and they're like, I don't suck. I don't get to hunt as much as they do, so good on them that they had the opportunity. Or like you said, a person could look at it and they could go, man, this guy had a hell of a season. You know what? Fuck that guy. So, because behind the scenes is the amount of miles and marketing money that I had to spend to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Is also the reason why I am currently being audited by the state of Iowa.
Right.
And like, because they basically, the guy called and just said, this is ridiculous that you spent that much money in marketing and travel. This has to be fraud.
Right.
I'm like, apparently you've never driven to Arizona twice in a year and Pennsylvania twice in a year and Texas 3 times and once Florida. And you know what I mean?
Right. It's like, I also opened up a daycare. Just saying.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, hey, go check out these Somalians and their non-existent children at their daycare. So yeah, that's the thing that people don't see too, is it's not all luxury. I don't have a trust fund. All it took was me losing a couple of sponsors. Then all of a sudden I can't hunt the way I used to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mulligan must be a millionaire because he hunts all over the world. No, not
I've known you for a while. I can vouch you're not a millionaire.
No. So I decided I was going to hunt instead of buy a new car.
Right. Yeah.
Or go on vacations.
And that's something you and I've talked about for forever, man. It's prioritizing the thing whatever it is that you want. Like you can do it, whatever it is that you want to do, within reason usually, but you also have to be aware of like, what are the things you're gonna have to sacrifice or give up in order to do those things,
Yeah.
It's like you were saying earlier, someone am I a better hunter than someone who's been hunting 2 or 3 years? Maybe not. I have more experience, more knowledge. I've seen things more often than they do.
More stuff. Yeah.
And that becomes really obvious in things like jujitsu, right? Just because someone has years doesn't always equate to better outcomes, right?
No.
Like there's plenty of guys that show up just that are really talented because they're just really talented, and for whatever reason, jujitsu works for them. You know what I mean? And it's like, and they just take off. Right. And they
there's 3 key things, like even you and I directly, like I know that you're better at jujitsu than I am. And 1, you've been doing it longer than I have. 2, you had wrestling background. I didn't have that. 3, I know how your fucking brain works. Like you're a little on the spectrum.
Right.
You know? And so like all of those things combined, I mean, some people, things just click, you know? Photography clicks for me.
Yeah. And that's the one thing where it's like, I look at cameras every year. Every year I look at cameras and I'm like, this is the year I'm going to buy a camera this year.
Yeah,
and then every year I don't, because I'm like, I mean, I know myself, right? It's like, I don't have the video or photography brain. Like it just doesn't happen. Like I can't match my own clothes. Like that's like how bad it is, you know?
Yeah. So it's like everybody's got those special gifts and whatnot, but you know,
but even when someone achieves something like what you were saying earlier, right? It's like you don't, when someone has success, you know, And even if they have more opportunity, whatever the case is, it's like, you can still be like, hell yeah, man, good on you. It's like my buddy Jay that I train with, young guy, phenomenal, like killer jujitsu, his jujitsu's killer. And he's been training, I want to say maybe 5 years now or whatever. And he's a killer. But what people like, I saw it because I've trained with him while he was doing it. But like, there was like a period of like, I want to say close to like 2 years where the dude was doing doubles, where he was training in the morning, training in the evening, lifting in the middle of the day. And, and people would be like, well, he hasn't been training that much longer. How's he so good? And I'm like, because he spent 4 years worth of mat time in 2 years.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I was like, that's how, right? Yep. It's like, it didn't just show. He had no wrestling background. Yep. He was a meathead, a lifter beforehand. Yep. You know what I mean? He was a strapping kid, like he's strong, but like he worked himself into that. And it was just, but the thing that people don't recognize is like, all the things he had to sacrifice to get that good for those 2 years that he made that commitment. You know what I mean? It's like, there was a lot of stuff he didn't do. I mean, he didn't work a lot, right? And things like that, because this is the thing that this was his path, right?
Yeah.
And so now when I see him succeed, and he just did a tournament, he lost a close match. He was in this tournament to try to win money. So he's starting to do like more like money tournaments or money matches and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm one of his good buddies. And it's like, whenever he does that, and if he has success, I'm not like, well, F him. He, had the ability to train. Like, look, if I wanted to train like that for 2 years, I could too, but I prefer, I'm not willing to sacrifice that. Right.
Yep.
So whenever I see him go out and do something and kick ass, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, go kick some ass. You know what I mean? It's like, you put the work in, you did all the work, like, go get your rewards.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, sacrifices and opportunities. And the other thing people look at on opportunities is kind of one of those little ancillary things is, what if they have kids? What if they're married?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing to live in a portalet and quit hunting just so I can train more jujitsu.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, like,
and vice versa, I'm not willing to quit jujitsu to hunt more, because I enjoy, I get benefit from both. They both have their place for me, because I was in that same weird spot that you were probably like 2 years ago, where I had this tug where I was like, I feel like I'm cheating on hunting. Like, hunting was my wife.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like, I married hunting a long time ago, because I grew up doing it and I love it. But then I had this girlfriend. She was pretty cool. Like, you know what I mean? And she's new, right? It's like,
she gets me.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I felt like internally for like a little while. And then once I started seeing how one made me better at the other, right? And like, when I have to take time away from hunting, it gives me fresh perspective whenever I do get to go back to the woods, when I get back into the timber and I scout or I'm hunting or whatever the case is, or whenever I go on trips and I slow down my training for a while because I'm going to go hunt here, or I'm chasing this deer or whatever the case is. It gives me a break from the jiu-jitsu stuff. And when I come back to it, it's like, I'm so excited to be able to come back to it. Right. And so each of them is good for the other. You know what I mean?
They really are. And I tell you, like, the humility that comes from a new sport, any new sport, fucking chess, shuffleboard, I don't care what it is, pickleball, the humility that comes from, okay, I suck. I'm not the best guy at this, and it's going to take time, and I'm going to have to take my lumps along the way before I have any little internal gratification wins or whatever. That was so important this year. And I can joke about it candidly, because again, I don't have that kind of an ego, dude, this year 2025 was rough. I mean, I was like, it was paycheck to paycheck, grinding out each month, making mortgage, making truck payments, Hell, there's a few months I was even glad there was a 10-day grace period. You know what I mean? And I'm like, shit. Like, so the humility that's taught is it's like, hey, it is what it is. Like normally I would have beat myself up. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't shoot an archery buck this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time I haven't shot an archery buck since like 2007.
Wow.
So it's like, no, 5 years ago, I would have been like, you suck,
Right.
you're a loser. And I'm like, I had life. I had other shit to deal with, like, man, I mean, I tried, but it is what it is. So, and like you said, finding those days where you're like, I just don't want to go today.
Mm-hmm.
And, I used to feel really guilty when I had those days, and putting stuff into perspective, man. And, like, huge shout out to the guys. Cause I know you have some listeners that they're lucky if they get to go out 4 weekends a year.
Yeah.
They want to
100%.
go out every weekend, or they want to go out midweek. Do not beat yourself up. Like, it's hunting. It's supposed to be fun. Set your goals, but also set reasonable goals. Like, you imagine if you were a guy that got to hunt 3 weekends a year and you're like, this is the year 205. I ain't shooting nothing unless it's 205. And I'm in West Virginia.
Right.
Or I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, are you? Like, did you set your goal a little high? You might have set yourself up for failure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So having, do set goals. I'm a firm believer in that, but like, let's look ourselves in the mirror and set realistic expectations. Did we shoot our bow? Are we proficient? Like, have we been hunting for more than a year?
Right.
Like, let's put things into perspective,
Yeah.
This year I knew was going to be a struggle, to get things done. And I was kind of leaning on a little bit of luck, but therefore I wasn't putting a lot of internal pressure on myself.
But that's also like where I think you get a lot of opportunity for growth, right? Because I kind of went into the season different, but similar in the sense that I picked up a stick bow and I was determined that was going to be the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be hard.
Hunting is not hard enough, Clint. Let's make it really hard.
I know, right? And so I knew, like, I was confident with it, and I've talked about it on here, so I won't belabor it, but I felt good with the equipment, and it was one thing when you were talking about earlier, when we were talking about like staying on the details and stuff like that. Making a change to that bow made me stay on the details, because I am one of those guys that I shoot all off season. Right. And then when season hits, usually like with a compound, like I don't shoot that often. Right. Like maybe just because like I'm burning it at both ends. Like I'm trying to hunt, I'm trying to work. And so it's like in, getting out and shooting, like it's just being honest, it's challenging. Right. And so usually the shooting is what kind of goes away. Right. And it's like, I might have 1 or 2 days a week where it's like I go out and I sling 2 or 3 arrows and that's it. You know what I mean? And that's all I got. With the longbow this year, it's like, even when I was on my trip, I shot every day, like still, like I would shoot like 6 to 10 arrows, like every day, whether it's like I was doing it in the headlights when I got back to my trailer into a target, right? Or if I was glassing somewhere and there was like a leaf or something laying on the ground, like 10 yards away, I would shoot cause I always took like a blunt tip or a field tip with me, and I would just rip 6 or 7 arrows or whatever it was, like at that leaf, you know what I mean? Just to kind of like pull the bow back and feel it, you know what I mean? And so it made me stay on my details. And I think sometimes, those, going back to what you were saying, like I knew this year was going to be challenging, and I knew if I was going to be successful, there's going to probably have to be an element of, I think there's always an element of luck when we're successful, but there was going to have to be even more of an element of luck for me, but I think, I've talked about this in, a couple of different episodes where it's like, I think this year was a year where I feel like I probably grew the most. Like, I feel like I learned so much this year, even though outside looking in, it looked like dog shit. You know what I mean? But I honestly look back at it, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm so much better now than I was, right? Because I see things differently now. Like that bow and that experience forced me to see things differently than I had, in previous years.
Yeah. Well, and we'll make a truth from the stand cutting first announcement on the podcast.
Okay.
The biggest growth for me overall this year was like, I mean, I've alluded to like putting things in perspective. It's going to be a tough season. I'm not going to get to travel as much, you know, blah, blah. And all of that is definitely true. But over the last couple of years, I felt like something was missing from my hunting. Like I wasn't having as much fun, and I wasn't killing for content. I love to hunt and I love to kill animals. But that wasn't my sole motivation to keep hunting. Um, the TV show side of things,
Mhm.
the amount of pressure that I was putting on myself
Yeah.
to produce a show and have 12 episodes a year with 12 kills. And this year, knowing that I wasn't going to get to hunt as much, I knew that was going to sacrifice. And the industry is changing. Budgets are getting tighter. A lot of companies are going to third party like marketing agencies, and they're just, everybody's tightening the purse strings and sharpening their pencils a lot. Maybe this is that vacuum effect of post COVID, big sales years.
Right.
And we're seeing it across the board. Every TV show I know. I mean, hell, I talked to one of the guys at Waypoint, and he was like, dude, I can tell you 15 shows that in the past 2 weeks called and they're done,
Yeah. Yeah.
So no more Primal Divide.
Oh, damn.
I'm done with the TV show world.
Wow. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. So and it's such a relief. I've been toying with the idea for a year or two. And man, it felt good just to rip the Band-Aid off.
I bet, man.
I love storytelling, and I'm sure that I'll still take a camera out every once in a while and try to capture some cool moments and stuff like that. Cause I feel like I will still enjoy it. And I still have like easily like 4 or 5 people on Instagram that like to see my stuff.
Right.
Maybe 3. I don't know.
Right.
My mom, if I count my mom. But like, I'm just done with it. This year there was a buck that I was wanting to kill, and I was so caught up in trying to film the buck to make partners happy that I was not engaged in the hunt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm
what
supposed
am I doing
to be
this
hunting.
For? Yeah.
Right. And I'm supposed to be having fun, and I'm not having fun anymore. And now granted, there is an element of not having fun is when you're not making money and you can't pay your bills.
Right. Yeah.
Where I'm like, I don't need to be a millionaire. I mean, that's obvious. I took a career choice to produce hunting content. I knew what I was getting into. I was never going to be a millionaire. And I'm willing to make sacrifices and not go on vacations and buy brand new vehicles all the time or have a big house. I signed up for that, but I at least gotta like pay bills, know, and when it doesn't make sense anymore, and by sense, I mean like CENTS, when it doesn't make sense anymore, then, it's just time. So, so I've made the decision that I'm not going to produce an actual show anymore. I'll probably keep the YouTube channel, with some stuff. And obviously I'll still do all my Instagram, Facebook stories and share hunting adventures. But,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. I'm happy.
It
doesn't worth it.
Yeah. I'm happy for you. Because I know like it's a lot of work, man. I think people that don't, run a TV show or a YouTube show or even like a podcast or whatever, like I don't think they realize like how much work it is,
It's a ton of work being the editor, being the closed captioning
especially
guy.
whenever you're like either like a 1 or 2 man show, man. Like it's a lot, right? Like, and you and I are both in this situation where it's like, it's really a 1 man show, it's like we do everything. And what people don't see is, the dirty little secret is like how much hunting and scouting time I give up to do the show.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
I'm
that's
supposed to be
part
hunting, but I'm at home editing an episode and I'm uploading photos. Like, people don't see all the behind the scenes of what goes involved in it. And the amount of pressure. I know this sounds douchey, but the amount of pressure to kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
who wants to watch me hunt
and that
not
feels
see a
like
deer?
yeah, and that feels, I mean, that's very much more on the video side of things for sure.
Yeah,
like
right.
that pressure, right? Like I don't feel that same. There was a time where I put that type of pressure on myself because I was like, who wants to listen to some guy who isn't killing a deer this year or whatever the case is, right? But that was also the same time that I realized that, like, hey, what we were talking about earlier, where it's like I have limited opportunities still, right? Just because I have the free time to do this, to stay connected to hunting, doesn't mean that I have all this free time to go hunt as well, right?
Yeah.
And so like that pressure hasn't been as much for me, but on the video side of things, I certainly think it is, which is also why, like, I've filmed a little bit every year. I usually take a camera with me of some sort, you know. It's like, do I have kill shots on film? Yes. Have I ever put any of them out? No. You know, have I toyed around with doing YouTube stuff? Yes. Like from like a hunting video standpoint, do I think I will ever do it? No. You know, and it's for that reason, right? Where it's like, I just could never get over the hurdle of how, like at one point I had felt like the pressure of having a podcast, right? And I was like, and then I worked myself out of that, and that was several years ago. And then at that same time, as early when I was thinking about the YouTube stuff, and I was like, man, I'd be jumping from the frying pan to the fire. You know what I mean? I was like, if I thought I was miserable before, it's like I would totally be miserable then, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I got to see firsthand, like, you know, the work that you have to do and like everything that goes into it. And then I got other buddies too, like the guys from Untamed. Now they have interns and people who help them to some degree, but it's still a lot, man. You know, and I was like, I don't know, man. It seems an awful lot like work. I don't know if I want to do it.
Yeah. It is. It's a lot. It's a lot like work. And, you know, what people don't see is, like, on a travel hunt at the end of each night, you're dead tired. You want to go to bed. And let's say maybe you are fortunate enough to have a camera person with you on the hunt. You sit down at the laptop and you're dumping SD cards, you know, at least labeling them as day 1, day 2. So you can know something about where to start whenever you get home. And then you put all the cameras on battery chargers, and then you format the SD cards, clean lenses, repack all your bags for the next morning, and then you get to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and I get it. It's champagne problems. You're out on an elk hunt, you know. I don't need anybody. Poor John.
Right. But it's just a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of, like,
I chose
what goes on. Yeah.
And you know, people are like, oh, well, you know, you work with all these good partners. Yeah, I've got a few good partners, 100%. And I've had a lot of, actually, I should say, over the years, I've had a lot of really good partners and became really good friends, you know, with the people at these companies. But if you don't think you have a bad season, that doesn't have some effect or bearing on the partnership, your ass is nuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so it's a finicky business, and
like, you really have to love it to do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing.
I did for a lot of years. I loved it and I still love it. You know, and the problem is like, if I needed any direct, definitive example of when you have less money coming in, you have less opportunities to hunt. That was 2025.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, because it's not a business, like you were saying earlier, that you're going to get rich in. Like, you better love it, because that's your enjoyment of being able to do that for a living or a part-time living or whatever the case is. That's the compensation. Exactly. You know, because, like, if I have people, when they ask me, like, hey, I'm thinking of starting a podcast or whatever, the first thing I tell them is number one, don't do it unless you're willing to do it for free. Because, you know, the ability to make money at, you know, especially now, getting into anything, whether it's YouTube or, you know, podcast related, you know, is exponentially smaller opportunity than it was 10 years ago. Right. Because there's just the sheer numbers of how many people are doing it. Right. And so your ability to stand out is more challenging. You need to have a unique point of view or a different perspective or something people notice you, or that where people would be, I shouldn't say notice you, would be interested in what you have to say or what you're doing. Right.
Yeah.
Or, that's the first thing. And then you better be willing to do it for free, if not in perpetuity, at least for a good while. Right. And if you don't love it enough to just do it for free because you like it, it's not going to work out for you long term.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's.
Yeah. And I used to always wonder, like, man, somebody gets out of the hunting space from a promotional standpoint, we'll call it an influencer, and then somebody else steps in and immediately takes their place. And I'm like, how is this a revolving door? Well, here's the problem. It's the FOMO effect. You have so many people that are not generating an income. They want to, but they create a persona online that they're getting paid to do this.
Right.
And they're one of the big dogs. So anybody who doesn't know any better is like, well, shit, that sounds like a fun career to me. I'm going to get into it too. And then they realize there ain't no money in this shit.
Right.
I'm never going to pay bills doing this,
Right. I know.
And yes, there is the illusion of the Drurys and Levikoskis and, whatnot. Seek One, good on them. I just named 3 people out of 5 million people that are trying to make a living doing this.
Right. Yeah.
I, at 47 years of age, have a better chance of making it through the combine in the NFL than I do making $1 million on a TV show.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the reality of it. And, but yeah, man, I was like, I'm done.
So what are you going to fill your time with now, man? Like after that, you know what I mean? Like
Minecraft.
Right. Minecraft.
So I recently became a master instructor for a company called Pepperball. So imagine if paintball and OC spray got married and had a baby.
Yeah.
So it's a non-lethal device, a launcher that shoots these little like paintball sized spheres, that's filled with an OC powder, a weightless powder. So it essentially, when it breaks open, it turns into like a weightless smoke. So it'll just fill an area. But, anyways, it's a really, really cool device. So part-time, I've been training cops and corrections officers on how to use, Pepperball and get them certified, and for non-lethal use of force, which is ironic for me, because when I started my law enforcement career, we were still using slapjacks and like just smacking people in the head, splitting their wigs.
Right.
But cell phone cameras, the optics of it alone, it looks better and it's highly effective. You don't have that cross contamination, other cops. Because back in the day, anytime somebody broke out a bottle of OC, we all got sprayed with that shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And let's face it, I've seen it firsthand. We offer free jujitsu to cops, and we had like one guy show up. So cops aren't going to do that. They're not willing to put in the time. The majority, I shouldn't say all cops, 80% of cops are not willing to put in the time into self-defense and physical training. Because optically, you can put somebody in a lock that looks a whole lot better than smacking them in the head with a baton or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, that's the unfortunate part. So, hey, here's another tool.
Yeah.
That works really well. So I've been doing some of that. And, like I said, I'm still going to work with a few outdoor industry brands, doing some photography and doing some promotional stuff with, as well. But, it's time to diversify the portfolio a little bit.
Yeah. Time
and
to do
not have
different.
all my chips in one basket,
Man, that's cool, man. The Pepperball, non-lethal force stuff, because I just in the way things are, obviously there's to your point, like the optics of it, right? And it's kind of like a requirement now, right? Honestly, just like the temperature and the environment of things. A buddy of mine, and you were talking about, guys training grappling of some sort or whatever the case is. A buddy of mine, I'll give him a shout out. I don't think he listens to this podcast because he's not a hunter, but I train jujitsu with him. Actually, there's one guy on here, my buddy Steven Smallridge knows him. He and my buddy Dylan have competed in the past. Steven's a black belt. He's out of Michigan. But my buddy Dylan that I get to train with some, he works for this company. He's a law enforcement officer still, I think, locally. I don't know. He was full time for a while, and I think he changed his schedule because now he kind of works. He works for this company that he was working kind of like on the side with for a long time, like in a good way. It's called EFC Combatives, and so basically what they do.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah. So he runs their training programs and stuff like that. And travels all over the country.
Yeah, I've been on their website. I was kind of looking into that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I can try to connect you with Dylan. Yeah. We can talk about this offline, but I can try to make a connection for you. But yeah, he travels all over the country, and essentially for anyone out there, just give them a quick plug that doesn't know what it is. If anyone out there listening that works in law enforcement and would like to have their precinct or their department trained or whatever the case is, they essentially have a curriculum where you have them come out, and Dylan or one of the other coaches, predominantly I think Dylan at this point does a lot of the traveling, and they'll come out and do like however long, I don't know the particulars of it, but it's at minimum like a couple day course where they come out and they teach you some basic like jujitsu techniques, restraint techniques to use. That way you're working efficiently and you're not just in like a grappling fight of shit just going everywhere, right? Like you have some techniques to use to restrain folks. And then I think there's like different curriculums, like you can do one and then you can do another one that builds on that. And just like jujitsu, right? Or any sport where it's like you get the foundation, then you get like another lesson, et cetera, et cetera. So, free plug for those guys. But if there's anyone out there listening that's interested in that, just check out EFC Combatives. They're a good group of guys, and I know one of the guys. So,
yeah. There's a couple of different agencies that offer those, and I had looked into that. The entrepreneur side of me is I was looking into those that if I could get certified but be freelance.
Yeah.
But pretty much all the good ones, you have to work under them. Yeah. And I understand that. I respect that,
Yeah. I would imagine you probably have to work under them at least for a period of time. Like they'll put you through the training, teach you the curriculum or whatever, then you probably have to give them X amount of time.
Yeah, give them a percentage. It's almost like paying a chair fee at a tattoo shop or, a hair cutting place. You're paying a fee. So yeah. But
cool, man.
Yeah, so been doing a little bit of that. I've taught a couple of classes now. I'm going to go out to SHOT Show and hang out with those guys for a little bit, shoot some content for them as well. And
sweet.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Everything's kind of up in the air right now as far as what direction things are going to go. But at least I know that this isn't working. You know what I mean?
Well, the other thing is too, is like when you have something like that, right? Like it can also, as much as you may love it, it can also feel like a boat anchor.
It is.
Where it's like, where you feel like I can't go do this because I still have this thing going, or I still have this thing happening. Right. Yeah. And so I have to tend to it because I have some obligations or I have some promises to people or whatever the case is. Right. Yeah. And it feels like it's just an anchor that you're dragging, always, as opposed to like a thing that's propelling you. Right. And so now you're free and in the clear. So it's like whatever opportunities come up, it's like you're there. You can take it. You can go. Yeah. You can always explore it.
And there's a part of me that has always been that like failure is not an option.
Mm-hmm.
But even more so than that, like don't ride the sinking ship down either.
Yeah.
There is the preservation of life.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, it's that way, like in life, it's that way in hunting, right? It's like if you're hunting a deer or whatever, and it's like you're getting your teeth kicked in, it's like, man, you can get your teeth kicked in trying something different. You don't have to do the same thing over and over again. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? It's like you can not kill that deer 100 other ways.
Yeah. and I think that's and at the same time, like, a buddy of mine pointed out, he's like, I know you feel like you failed at this. And I said, yeah, to some degree, but I can also say for 10 years, I got to do this as my sole source of income. Not a lot of people have had the ability to do their thing without a side hustle or, a main gig or something like that. So I'm like, that part is cool. And I've had a ton of fun. I mean, I've had a blast doing it. Right. But the thing that goes directly to what I always talk about as far as like, work more hours is I'm 47 and I'm doing another career change.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can stop and reinvent your career and segue into something different. You don't get stuck and be in a rut, like working the same dead end job that you absolutely hate. Like take a chance. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, exactly. Well, dude, I think that's the perfect place to end this for the new year is take a chance. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
Since we're launching into 2026. But before you get out of here, let folks know where they can find your feet pics and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So coming soon, OnlyFans and feet pics. If you see me on OnlyFans and feet pics, then just know that my things just didn't work out.
Things just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Right.
I tried.
Right.
But Instagram, johnny.utah.hunt, and Facebook, Johnny Utah Hunt Official. That's the most active places to find me. And I know Clint works with a ton of brands. I work with a ton of brands myself. There's a little discount page, the little discount section in my Instagram on the main page with the highlights. A ton of affiliate links, codes, discounts to save you money. Surprise, surprise. That's how I make money too.
Right.
Not going to trick anybody.
Right.
I mean, I can start a GoFundMe, or you can just go buy some of the shit that I'm shilling,
Right. Awesome, man. Well, brother, Happy New Year. It's always good catching up with you.
Same to you.
I hope your knee mends up well, and quickly.
I hope so.
At least by the time I get out to see you. And I'll talk to you here at some point. We'll nail down some dates and stuff like that. The way I'm out, sometime in March, we can do some hanging and some scooping and some chilling.
Yeah, for sure. And we have a guest bedroom now, so
bam, I'm in.
You're even better.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Okay. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, folks, that is a wrap for today's show. I'd like to thank all of you for listening. And if you haven't yet, please head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star rating. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast. And hell, while you're at it, head over to YouTube and give us a sub there too. I'd be super appreciative if you do those couple things for me. And before I shut this thing down, I need to give a big shout out to our partners who continue to help us make this podcast possible. Tacticam, Osseo Gear, Hawk Optics, Face Off E-Bikes, and Lathrop & Sons Boot Company. And until next time, we'll see y'all.